I'm always reachable. Love you. Share the video. Let people know to come out. Everything's free. Going on from 3 to 7 p.m. here in the village of Dalton. See what the kid is what it's about.
Greetings and salutations, loyal viewers of this channel. My name is Sean, and today we got to talk about the reemergence of the corrupt super mayor, Tiffany Henyard, because yes, she is in fact back. We covered the media reports of how she was hiding from the media and not letting anybody in the village of Dalton's town hall in order to avoid accountability. But as I told the chatters during my live stream, there was no way, shape, or form that she was on her way or halfway to Mexico by the time the Lightfoot report dropped, because this woman has way too big of an ego to go quietly. Again, you need to see this as her holed up in the back room with the shotgun, a pile of cocaine, and her money, waiting to take out anybody who ends up entering. That is the level of ego that this person has. She believes that she can pull the wool over everyone's eyes, completely fool them, and now we have a live stream, her response to the Lightfoot report, that is proof positive of that. Now, we're going to get into this, but before we do, I want to thank everybody who supports this channel via actualjusticewarrior.com/join.
Give me the money. Give me the money, okay?
All right, come on in. Come on in, residents. Come on in. Hey, y'all. It's your super mayor, Tiffany Henyard, the people's mayor and the people's supervisor. Today is our back-to-school event here in the village of Dalton for Thornton Township. So Thornton Township residents, if you're watching this, pull up. Everything's free, 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 free. We got a whole festivities, things for your kids to do. Let me turn around. Ton of activities.
Now, as you can see, the super mayor is really just trying to bribe the citizens of Thornton Township this time with their own money. Now, we have actually talked about all these different various expenses time and time again on this channel, but there's some things that people in the comments are getting completely wrong, and just like the previous video, I would like to correct the record. So yes, people did vote for the super mayor in the village of Dalton. However, there was a recall campaign almost immediately after her election when people started to realize the craziness, and that recall campaign was in fact successful. They voted her out of office. However, a judge in the year 2022, this is how long it's been going on, invalidated the recall because in Illinois, unlike California, they don't have a set procedure for recall. So what these guys did in order to get it on the ballot was they put the issue of whether they could do a recall on the ballot and the recall election again on the same ballot. A judge said that was no good, that was no bueno, and therefore tossed the recall results.
New at 10, making a political statement with some disco in South suburban Dalton. Take a listen.
How y'all doing? Ain't no stopping us now.
All right, karaoke night apparently at City Hall. That's Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard kicking off tonight's board meeting with her rendition of the 1979 hit Ain't No Stopping Us Now. The reason for the throwback jam? An appellate court ruling threw out a June recall vote that would have removed Henyard from office.
And for years and years, these people have been fighting to try to get this woman out of office, but Illinois' governing structure is what is keeping her in place. And by the way, for the Thornton Township, just so you guys know, the previous head of the Thornton Township Board of Supervisors ended up leaving the position. I forget if he died or retired. It makes no matter. And Henyard was actually appointed to this position because she was young and because she was female. And to be clear, she wasn't elected in the village of Dalton just because she was black. The village of Dalton is 91% black. They had black administrations before. In fact, they had a $5 million surplus under the previous black mayor of the village of Dalton. The difference with Henyard is that she was a woman, a black woman for sure, and that she was young. So when she was sworn in, she wasn't sworn in as the first ever black this or that. It was the first ever female and the youngest person to be the mayor of the village of Dalton. Get your facts straight, people, because you sound ignorant in the comments when you're like, oh, this is what happens when you have a black governing force. In reality, they had a black governing force before her, and they had a $5.6 million surplus. And yes, the villagers have done everything that they could, including trying to change laws in order to get rid of her.
So they're coming, and they're going to do go-kart riding right now, as you can see, right here in Dalton. We right here at the old Melanie Fitness. / the new Dawn Police Station.
So it needs to be understood by everybody out there in the audience that what you're seeing is incredibly expensive. And this is while not just the village of Dalton, but the Thornton Township is struggling to make payments. And of course, Tiffany Henyard is under investigation for intermingling village and, of course, the township funds, which are two separate positions, and therefore they should not be mingled. But what did you just hear from her? She's in the Thornton Township inviting those residents to come right here in order to enjoy this free event, and this free event takes place in the village of Dalton. And you can see the go-karts and all this crazy stuff, and I just want to remind you that the Lightfoot investigation showed us a $9 million swing in terms of revenue in the village of Dalton in just their general fund, where they went from a $5 million surplus to a $3.65 million deficit. And again, that's just in that fund.
Next, you can see is a graphic that depicts where we started as of April, where the village started as of April of 22, with positive of $5.6 million in the general fund, and where we are as of May of 2024, which is a negative $3.65 million.
Mayor Lightfoot, if I may.
Yes, sir.
Just kind of as a summary now, just quick numbers. So in a 2-year span, we're talking about a $9 million swing or $9 million of deficit over that course of time. Would that be most accurate?
Yes, sir.
Now, on top of that, they also have $6 million in checks that have been signed that should go out to vendors, but they cannot, in good conscience, send those checks out to the vendors. And the reason for that is because they don't have any money to cover the checks. And again, it's about 589 checks totaling $6 million. So that is also stacked on top of that.
Based on the records that we have reviewed since March of 2023, the village has been unable to pay all of its monthly expenditures with available cash balance. Since that time, nearly every month, a portion of the checks approved and printed have been held by the village due to unavailability of funds. Per records from the John Kasperick firm, as of June 18, 2024, there are 589 checks totaling over $6 million that have been approved, printed, but not transmitted to vendors.
Also, in addition to that, according to the Lightfoot report, we also had a fund that is not meant to be spent on general fund priorities. It's not meant to be tampered with. It is only for specific purposes. And it's where the village typically, under the previous administration, would put their rainy day fund in order to earn interest so that the village can get something back in case of some kind of emergency. Well, that fund had well over $2 million in it, as we saw in the Lightfoot report, and it now has $3,900.
In addition to the main operating account, historically the village has held its excess cash in an account known as Illinois funds. Illinois funds are interest-bearing accounts that are managed by the Illinois Treasurer's Office that allow municipalities to earn interest on their excess cash balance. The balance in the Illinois funds account as of June 30th was only $3,900. As of April 30th, 2021, that balance was over $2 million. So the balance of excess cash has dropped by over $2 million in that time period.
Now, the reason I bring all of this up, all of this money that has been misappropriated by the super mayor, and by the way, she's doing similar things in the Thornton Township, we just don't have the equivalent of a Lightfoot investigation over there, is because now that should put into perspective the cost of this event for the kids, the cost of free go-karting and free backpacks. And by the way, the village residents actually put it better than I'm putting it right now in the previous meeting where they did the Lightfoot report, because they talked about how residents need to stop accepting the free crap from the super mayor.
To public comments. So this is to every resident of the village of Dalton that is here and not here. This is to let you know, this is not fake news. This is real. And to all the residents that seem to think that this is not real, you need to get a copy of this. To all the residents that think, oh, she's doing a great job and she's giving this party and we're going to get hot dogs and they're giving the kids Easter baskets and televisions and CD players and laptops. That's our money. It ain't her money. It's our money. And free 99 ain't always good. So I employ every resident that seems to want to go to every event that she does, stop going. Stop going. Don't support nothing that she's giving.
Now, the funniest part about that is still going to be the fact that she mentioned CD players among the free things that people need to stop accepting. I don't know if the super mayor is actually giving out CD players or if this is a boomer moment, but the fact of the matter is the crumbs that the villagers are getting, the crumbs that the people in the Thornton Township are getting, come at the cost of the fiscal solvency of their entire government. Now, I also want to point out that maybe as taxpayers, since you're actually paying for this, you might want to take this stuff back. Now, I know these people don't pay a ton of money in income tax because they are low-income individuals on average in the village of Dalton, but to be clear, they do pay some of the highest property taxes in the state of Illinois, and this is because the super mayor has raised it to try to extract as much revenue as humanly possible in order to pay for these self-promoting events.
I'm going over here where the food at. All right, now I'm going over here where the food at, because I told you everything free. When you come to any of Tiffany Henyard's productions, it's free. You don't need anything. So you got your hot dog, the chips. Hey, y'all. Hey, 2 Live Crew. Hot dogs, burgers, nachos. You name it. They got popcorn. Popcorn right here. And they got snowballs. Talk to them. Look who I got. Miss Black USA. And then you got the, hey y'all. Hey, you got the line. Look. Woo. You got the face painters. That's pretty.
Now look, while I do consider that warning to be sage advice to stop taking the handouts from her because she's just trying to buy the votes of the residents, obviously some people are going to come out for free stuff no matter what, even though, again, they're paying for this through deficit spending and higher taxes, specifically property taxes in the village of Dalton. And by the way, she tried to raise them in the Thornton Township in order to cover all the insane spending. And while you might be getting some free hot dogs, while you might be getting some free backpacks for your children, some potato chips and all that nonsense, I just want to point out that the super mayor is billing $250,000 in terms of vehicles for her own personal security detail. She also drives a BMW, and remember, her salary is almost $300,000 from the Thornton Township. And again, this is all while she's under FBI investigation for intermingling funds, misappropriating funds. This is all while she's under state investigation for using the Thornton Township taxpayer dollars in order to fund the Tiffany A. Henyard Foundation, and this is while we have the information from the Lightfoot report.
Stay tuned. Come out. We here from 3 until 7 p.m. today. Making the way, and as y'all can see, I am so family oriented. I care about the youth. This is what they don't tell you or what they don't show you. The youth is everything, and y'all have to pass the baton. I don't care about all the hate that they spelling, because at the end of the day, you got to lead with love. When you lead with love, you will always go further in life. Because at the end of the day, that's what we need in this world, love. It's so much hate that it don't make no sense.
I mean, the sad irony of this is that the super mayor thinks that this is exonerating evidence for her. She thinks that this is proof positive that she is doing good work in the community, but this is exactly what we're talking about in terms of misappropriating funds for campaign purposes, for her own personal gain. And it's sad that all these kids are being dragged out to a free carnival, which must be nice for them in this moment, but it is costing them dearly, and it's why the township and the village of Dalton will be in financial ruin post her leaving.
But I want the kids to see their super mayor still standing throughout all the controversy. Their super mayor that's touchable, reachable, and you can talk to me when you see me. So that's what I try to show them. And the kids ain't did nothing but just love back on me like I love on them. So I appreciate you all for coming out. I'm just showing you, like, look, nothing but kids out here. And I want people to know that you can bring your kids to any event that I host. Any event that I host. All the events that I host. All the events. Hey, girl. All the events that I host, you can bring your kid. You don't need no babysitter. You you gotta drop them off, I'll make sure it's possible that you can actually let them go run around and wear they step out. And then when they get home, they just drop. You know, I'm a parent too, so I know what that feels like. So bring them out. Have a good time. Come and learn something.
So right here, the super mayor is still giving her basic spiel. She's doing for the kids. She's still standing. She's not hiding. Anybody could find her. You can all approach her when you want to talk to her because that's just who she is. Now, of course, we have video of Tommy G trying to interview the super mayor, trying to go into a public building, being harassed by multiple Village of Dalton police officers that are totally under the grip of the super mayor. She's also wearing Chanel sunglasses. Don't think I didn't notice that. And of course, this is just a giant waste of the taxpayer dollars, but she's hiding behind these kids in order to protect her reputation, in order to say that she's doing for all these different people, in spite of the crazy controversy that, again, is about her misappropriating funds. It's all well and good for you to do something nice for the children, to help them going back to school. They are low-income children. We all understand that, but it's not nice to do this at the cost of their future, at the cost of higher taxes on adults, at the cost of not being able to provide any basic services in the Village of Dalton because you've left so many vendors unpaid that now vendors will not work for a deposit. You have to pay the whole thing up front. This is where they're at. And remember, the fire department in the Village of Dalton, they're discovering that their healthcare benefits are not being paid for. So they don't actually have medical care. Their retirement contributions, they're not being made. So their future is being stolen while Tiffany Henyard is talking about passing the baton to the kids. And by the way, they're losing firefighters. They're so lucky in the Village of Dalton that they have firefighters that are willing to stay and work in that town when they definitely don't deserve it because they're not paying them appropriately. They're not paying for their healthcare, for their benefits. When they have kids, they get $12,000 bills that they weren't expecting when it's supposed to be completely covered. And yet the super mayor is pretending that she's the glorious one as she misappropriates their money, as she is stealing from the firefighters, as she's stealing from the citizens in order to have go-karts for the kids. That's all about her looking good. Again, anybody can watch this live stream. See how much of it is about the kids versus about her. Obviously, it is about self-promotion. It's about the super mayor. You saw the flyer that she put up right there. She's taking up 90% of the flyer. This is what she does time and time again. This is a campaign fund being paid for by the taxpayer, and everybody there should be ashamed of her being their representative.
And remember this, because election time coming up. Remember this. You ain't never seen none of these elected officials in your life, or people that want to be these posers. I can't stand a fake politician. They only come up and show up when it's time to run. They ain't done nothing for 4 years. 4 years it went by, y'all. 4 years. And they ain't done nothing but keep up chaos, keep up division, keep up controversy. Pay attention to that. Focus on those that's doing the work for you. That's it. Ah!
Now, of course, the super mayor says, oh, when you see all the controversy and all that, focus on those who are doing the work for you, because she's saying, oh, the board of trustees, they can't be trusted. I mean, they've been warning about the fiscal disaster that they've been going into all of this time. They worked to get a recall campaign against Tiffany Henyard, which is unheard of in the state of Illinois, and it was successful. Then a judge neutralized that campaign, and they still fought the good fight, hired a special counsel, came together with the community in order to uncover the fraud of the super mayor. But you're supposed to pay attention not to that effort, not to the people who told you the truth, but you got to look at these events. You got to look at Tiffany Henyard with the kids. Pay no attention to her first class flights. Pay no attention to the fact that she spent over $55,000 on interest alone on a lease of one Chevy Tahoe among 3 different vehicles that make up $750,000 for her own personal security detail and for her to ride around in. Again, absolute madness in every possible way, but the super mayor ends this in the best possible way by telling you, no joke, to stay woke.
All right, y'all. I love y'all. Always stay woke. Stay woke. Pay attention. Remember, my word speaks for itself.
Look, the reason we keep going back to this story is because it's interesting. There are new developments, but let's be clear. This personality type in government, the head of 2 different government bodies, ripping up the taxpayer money, destroying the credit and trust of the taxpayers in these 2 different areas with this attitude is amazing to see. Obviously, her craziness draws people in, but let us not forget, as entertaining as the super mayor is. As unbelievably stupid as this woman actually is, she is destructive. She is vindictive. She is somebody who is damaging all these different communities under the township and, of course, running the village of Dalton into the ground. A village that, again, before her, even though they had some issues with the previous mayor, had a $5+ million surplus. That's what this woman is doing. That's who she is. She is stealing everything. The cupboard is completely bare, but she's papering it over with these events for the children. Don't be fooled. And by the way, the comments under this definitely have to be screened because a bunch of them are I stand with Tiff, I stand with the super mayor, and all that nonsense. And we've seen time and time again the way that she'll try to propagandize people against you. But you know what? Those are just my thoughts. I want to know what you guys think down in the comments below. If you like the video, show them by leaving a like, subscribe for more content, follow me on the social media, support me via the support links in the description of this video. This has been me talking about the super mayor. This has been me talking about the super mayor returning with a vengeance. Till next time.